Oof. Coronavirus. Still got a bit of a cough from it. Last week, all the symptoms. Fever, bit of a nasal drip, malaise. I had lost motivation for a few hours there. I was like laying in bed. I'm just like, got a bit chills, a bit of feverish. No motivation at all to do anything, no work, no writing. Just like, malaise. And so I laid down for a bit, got some water into me, got some sugar into me, because sugar feeds the immune system. The human body, crazy it may sound, if you've done a little biology in 5th grade, the human body runs on sugar, glucose and fructose. The brain, glucose. Sperm cells, only fructose. And so sucrose is a 50-50 split of glucose and fructose. Sucrose found in sugarcane, and cane is just a grass. So basically when you're having refined sugar, that's essentially grass powder, refined grass powder. End product, end game, grass powder. And the sucrose in that is exactly the same as the sucrose in a fresh fruit, banana, mango, cherry, blackberry, blueberry. It's got the same sugar as white refined sugar. And when you're in hospital, when you go to hospital with corona or anything where you need to have some calories in you, they give you a dextrose solution, and dextrose is just a sexy name for glucose. What's it called, a D5 or something like that? It's an IV drip, glucose. So the human body runs on glucose, the human immune system runs on glucose, and the 100 or so trillion cells in the body, they run on sugar. Okay, so when someone says there's this thing spiraling around it, if the sugar paralyzes the human immune system for 4 or 5 hours. Every teaspoon of sugar paralyzes the immune system. What? But where is that done? There's some study on some rats back in the whenever. Rat studies don't equate to human studies. I mean, put a rat in a bicycle, it ain't going to go too far, Let the rats be rats. Let's do human studies on humans. It's crazy. Animal testing. Come on, guys and girls. It's 2020. Let's do human testing. We're already doing that, aren't we? We're already doing it in school with kids and medication. Wow. So yeah, the human body does run on sugar, and the human immune system runs on sugar. And people go, well, not refined sugar. That's not natural. That is natural. That's sucrose. When you get the dextrose drip that brings you to life, that's refined sugar. So it can be the healthy, orthorexic, whatever, but that's sugar. And it's in the fruit, it's in the rice, it's in your potatoes, it's in the starch. Starch is glucose molecules, So there's people out there say sugar's bad. It's like, you just use some common sense. Common sense, please. All right? Common sense. Before you say table sugar's bad, carbs are bad, use common sense. Well, what does my body what does your brain run on? Sugar. So how is sugar in any form bad for you? Oh, I eat donuts and I feel sick. Donuts are full of fat and trans fat. All right, donuts have sugar in there. That's good. Extract the sugar out of the donut, and that's good. All the oil and all that stuff and the whey protein, that's not sugar. That's there. So sugar is what you need. Have some fruit. Put some sugar on top. Beautiful snack. Fruit with sugar. Oof. Immune repair. You get all the nutrients in the fruit, and you get their table sugar on there, so you get extra sugar for your immune system. Oof. Now we're talking. Get some fiber for your bowels and all that. So it's good. You add sugar to fruit. Wow. Now you got a good match made in heaven. Because in nature, the sugar is a lot more in fruit. When they pick it green, it's grown in poor quality soils, not enough sunshine, not enough water, not enough fertilizer. The fruit sugar is low. And so you eat it and you're like, that's like Vaseline with fiber. Where's the sugar? And I mean, today we got some really good sugary fruits off the tree. Some tree ripened figs that tasted like they were dipped in sugar. The sugar, they were just bursting with sugar, just full of sugar, sweet. Oof, bam. Anyway, so my story last week, I had all the corona symptoms. Had that big sugar feed in the evening. Had some cereal, poured sugar on top. Had a kilo of grapes before that. It's important to eat fruit before starches. Otherwise, you had it afterwards. It sort of hits in your gut, ferments, and it feels so good. It goes for any foods you're going to eat. Always have fruit first. Fruit digests best on an empty stomach. So I had my fruit and then I had my starches with sugar. So I had the trifecta, the sugar from the sugar, the starch, the sugars from the starch, and then the sugars from the fruit. That's that Durian holy triangle trifecta. You know what I mean? Illuminati agenda. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. That's the corona thing. Anyway, human immune system, man, runs on sugar. So I feel totally, next day, boom, back on 8 out of 10 cylinders. And, just, you got to give your body the rest, man. So I had the rest. So my take on corona is everyone's going to get it. You're going to get corona. I've had corona. Will I get it again? Who knows? You can go and get your self-tested every day, 5 times a day, hypochondria. Even the doctors in Australia saying don't get tested because there's not enough tests. Just, if you feel sick, stay away from people, you know? And then there's the 14-day incubation period, which is based on what? You know, what's that even? 14 days, what's that based on? Where's the science behind that? 14 days? Who says 14 days? What about 10 days? What about 40 days? Who says 14 days? Like, how is, what? It's like saying, dude, this 100 milligrams for 14 days. It'll be the same for everyone. No, it won't. It'll be like massive swings in that. It's crazy. Anyway, but again, this is just a crisis situation. The media's just pumping out there with fake news. Man dies from corona. It's like, hang on. He had hypertension. He had type 2 diabetes. He was obese. He had heart disease. And he had pneumonia. And he got corona. So did he die from corona? Or did you die with corona? All right. So when you have cancer and they give you chemotherapy and you do the chemo and it wipes out your immune system, literally chemotherapy, this is not conspiracy, ask any oncologist. Chemotherapy wipes out your immune system. And then so you're in hospital and you get the flu or you get corona or you get pneumonia so was it the cancer that killed you? Or was it the chemotherapy that lowered your immune system so much that you got the common cold, you got the flu, influenza, corona, swine flu, pneumonia, whatever you want to call them, and then it checks you off the planet. So all these deaths from corona, like we've had 7 in Australia, 7, and we've put the country on lockdown. You know, where people can't even fly into Australia, certain types of people can't fly in Australia, blah, 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 for 7 deaths. And were they caused by corona, or did the person die with corona? Now, I put it out there, this is all my opinion, and you may or may not disagree with it or agree with it. That's fine. I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinions here. It's my YouTube channel. And in Australia, we have a nursing home crisis. Some nurses would call it a crisis. And nursing homes, maybe it happens in your country, but here in Australia, we have this nursing home. People say the standards aren't good, or the staff don't care, or people are just left to die. No one's visiting them. They've got dementia. We don't know what to do. They've got B12 deficiencies. No one's getting the B12 shots, and the food's bad, and blah, 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 blah. And basically, most people would say they don't really care unless there's money to be made from someone passing away, inheritance money. And all of a sudden, auntie or uncle or great-grandpa or whoever has got all these friends because they've got a big will and people are fighting for it. They're like, I want the estate. And so you basically have these elderly people in these nursing homes in Australia just being left to die. And no one really says nothing about it. But now all of a sudden, we're like, we've got to protect the elderly. And it's like, hang on, the same elderly who don't have anyone to visit them, the same elderly that we've basically just left over there. And now all of a sudden we're caring. And it's like, I don't know, it seems weird. It seems unusual that we're shutting down borders, etc. You know? And even the borders aren't shutdowns. There's this thing in the media right now in Australia saying the borders are lockdown. It's in lockdown. And it's like, okay, well, I can still jump on a plane and go and fly to Perth, or I can jump on a motorbike and ride to the border and go to Perth. And they say, where do you live? I said, I just live in Perth. Or become a grad. Where do you live? I live in Adelaide. Okay, go to Adelaide and stay for 14 days. And it's like, well, who's going to police that? Like, when they call it lockdown. But from my definition of lockdown is you're not going anywhere. You know, you're not going anywhere. Like, LA's in lockdown. It's like, no, you can go and ride your bike down the street. Same in New York, go for a jog at Central Park. Like, Italy sounds like it's in lockdown, though. I don't know what's happening in Italy. But then again, Italy, the people are saying that 99% of the deaths in Italy, this is on the Bloomberg, reported that 99% of the deaths in Italy, people had prior illnesses. Again, the hypertension, the respiratory issues, the type 2 diabetes, where the blood flow is inhibited because there's too much dietary fat, and it's just, the blood is just thick and then you get dehydration on top of that, and it compounds, and then someone gets corona, and it's just like it's the final little push over the edge. Like your car's, this is the edge of the cliff, right? And your car's on that point. My bike's over here, and some people, their bike is on the back wheel. It's just like, oh, it's about to fall, and then corona flies down on a butterfly's back, and just pushes them right up. Then they go, oh, corona did it. And it's like, well, they were hanging off the edge already, So what was it? The corona. So I personally don't believe, Let's put it out there as a hypothetical. If we did nothing about corona now, what would happen? Nothing. We just said, okay, it's just another flu, another swine flu. Swine flu, correct me if I'm wrong, has killed a lot more people than corona has, based on the same dates, etc. The influenza last year in the US, how many people was it? I don't know, it was 800,000 deaths last year in the US? Correct me if I'm wrong. What would happen if we did nothing? We're like, stop the spread, flatten the curve, hashtags. What does that even do? People are like, oh, it stops people going to hospital, and it's like, well, these people are already on their last legs. They're going to be in hospital. I don't really understand it. Again, I don't work in the hospital area, but people could chime in. If we did nothing, what would happen? What would happen? My belief is that, and I'm not an expert on this. This is just running commentary. I'm an expert when it comes to cycling, weight loss, fitness, health, sleep, mindset. I'm an expert on that. All right. This is new territory, talking about what could happen, because no one really knows. It's a crystal ball. So if we didn't do anything about corona and we just lived our lives as normal versus walk into an economic collapse, which seems to what's going to be happening. Again, I'm not an expert on that, but that seems to be what's going to be happening. And people losing lots of jobs, airlines shutting down, etc. It doesn't look good for the economy. Correct me if I'm wrong. It looks good for the environment, though. The environment's like, less pollution. This is pretty good. And what's going to happen, What would happen if we just said, okay, let's go business as usual? What would happen? What would happen if people didn't even know corona existed? What would happen? I wouldn't notice anything different, Would you notice anything different? If people just... but it seems like, it seems like there's just so much chaos going on, and then people are getting tested, and doctors even saying in Australia, don't come to the GPs because there's only so many tests, stay at home. And it's, there's only so many corona tests you can do before they burn out for all the testing packs, whatever it is they would test with. So even doctors are saying, don't test for corona because you've got a cough, you may or may not have it. And how do you even know if he's got it still? And how is there tests? Is the testing even accurate? Can you have a false positive or negative positive? Or false negative or false positive? Can you do that with corona? Does anyone even know? This is all so new, people don't even know what's going on? That could be a hypothesis. So I'm just living my life, doing my thing, following the rules, and it's crazy. But yeah, there's so much. Man, people really follow the mainstream media. They hang off the mainstream media every word. Even my brother today, my older bro Jason, he's ringing me up and he goes, SA's on lockdown. I said, what? And he goes, you don't even know. The border's locked down. It's on lockdown. And we're having this great conversation for an hour. He's just giving me heaps of shit and having a bit of a laugh. He's like, so you don't know it's on lockdown? I said, bro, I'm on TikTok. I'm uploading cat videos. And he's like, it's on lockdown. It's on lockdown. I'm like, really? And so I had a look, and it's called lockdown, but you can go across the border. No one's really policing it. They make you sign something. When you get home, you'll be isolated for 14 days. But what if you don't have a home? What if you're a backpacker? Like, you know what I mean? What if you just give a fake address? What if you are a homeless person? Go, yeah, I'm going to stay at my auntie's house. And I know, mate. Well, who's policing that? So the media's saying, lockdown, borders are closed, but the borders aren't closed. Definition of closed borders, no one's going through. It's like in China, you ain't going through. Nothing's going out or in. It's closed. So, but the media's having a field day of just no context. No context. And they're saying died from corona. From corona or with corona? So it's like when people say someone died from cancer. It's like, did the cancer kill them? Can cancer even kill you? The people I've known who have died from cancer, my dad being included, is they did the chemo radiation and they got pneumonia and that checked them off. Or maybe someone has a tumor and it presses on an aorta or an artery and cuts off, and they have a stroke. All right. So the cause of death in most cancer patients is stroke or pneumonia or even the flu, because the immune system gets so compromised, or tumor grows on a sensitive area they can't operate and it just cuts off your stroke. But cancer itself, in terms of killing you, doesn't really happen. It's the mechanics of that in most of the cases. Same with corona. People dying from corona or with corona. I'm repeating myself. Anyway, that's my corona thoughts and opinions, my corona experience. Should you get tested or not? There's 7 billion people. Do we have 7 billion corona tests? And if you test negative today, does that mean you'll test positive tomorrow? Because when you go outside, or someone sends you an Amazon delivery, like it's for me, it's just crazy paranoia. Like people are doing, hitting the doors with their elbows and not using their hands. It's like, hey, not shaking their hands. Like, oh, how long's that going to go on for? Like, who's setting the rules here? Where's the common sense? Where's the common sense? Keep eating your low carb diets, people. Don't use common sense. Don't let common sense prevail. Buy into the CNN paranoia, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Look at the death rates from heart disease, the death rates from cancer, chemotherapies, etc. The death rates from violent crimes, gun offences, car accidents, obesity, heart disease, corona. Look at these deaths, and these are largely preventable. But what action are we doing about that? You know what I mean? How many young people are dying from corona? From corona, from what I see. It's crazy. But, suicidal, depression, things like that, overdose of prescription medications, iatrogenic disease. Do you even know what an iatrogenic disease is? Most people don't even know what an iatrogenic disease is. IATROGENIC, iatrogenic. It's where you go to the doctors and the doctor says, well, you've got depression and you take this medication and then you knock yourself off. That's an iatrogenic disease, all right? Or you take the medication, you have a massive reaction to it, have a heart attack. That's an iatrogenic disease, right? You know what I mean? That's an iatrogenic disease. You go to surgery, you go for a gallbladder surgery, you come out and you die, iatrogenic disease, Well, they took out the wrong organ. That happens, or they accidentally cut your artery. It happens, so, and you bleed to death. So unfortunate, but that just happens in, doctors are also just human. They make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. So iatrogenic disease kills a lot of people every day. And most people don't know what the word means. Most people do not know what an iatrogenic disease is. And good luck suing a doctor if they do make a mistake by giving you the wrong medication. Good luck with that, because that ain't going to be happening. So it's just an interesting world we live in. But this corona paranoia has just, I call it paranoia in my opinion. It's just showed me how gullible most people in society are, and how they just follow the social narrative without any common sense. Just go, this is what the media says, this is what I have to do. Oh, no. Because most people are overwhelmed. They've got their kids, they've got the mortgages, they've got all this crazy thing going on. And my heart goes out for people who do have kids and a mortgage right now, and you work in hospitality, or maybe you're a flight hostess or a pilot or whatever, a teacher, or work in a gym, and now you don't have a job. Well, your income's cut, but you're still got to make payments, and you're still got to feed your kids and go to private school and all that stuff. And that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be some domestic violence going up. There's going to be some alcoholism going up. There's going to be some rage going up. All because people are just following the narrative and making themselves suffer, That's my hypothetical question. If we did nothing about corona, what's the worst that would happen? Some people who are really ill would get a strong flu and it would tip them over the edge. They're going to be going anyway because their diet and lifestyle is so poor. That's just the reality. And I'm not being mean. I'm just saying that's the reality. If you're obese, smoking cigarettes, eating meat, clogged arteries and all that stuff, and then corona gets you, was it the corona that got you? You're already hanging off the cliff. The corona butterfly lands in your back. Was it the coronas? Come on. And this whole thing about pretending to care about the elderly. Look at this supermarket crisis in Australia. The toilet paper's run out, the rice and pasta's running out every day, and where's where's people helping the elderly? You know, like people getting barged out of the way, get out of the way. You know, I want my toilet paper. Elderly, you know. So this whole thing about protecting the elderly, but we're just panic buying, and we're just like to heck with the elderly. What people are doing, not all people, but a lot of people are. So it's crazy. It is crazy, and it feels like I'm in a computer game. It feels like I'm off my chops. This doesn't feel like, is this real life? Is this really happening right now? It's insane. It's insanity.